Hey, buddies.
Hey, friends.
Check out Liz's new house. Isn't it great?
We got all of our remodel done,
Yeah,
and somehow I am miraculously in here by myself.
it's great. All right.
There's nobody
Well,
walking, behind me.
yeah, nobody. It's, you know what? You guys did a really good job remodeling.
Thanks.
Oh, man. All right. So we got a card. This is the one that stuck. Nope, we got to do different. No, I'll read both of them. So I'm going to pull another one because I don't like when we get like one that we've already had. And this one, I think I've pulled like 2 or 3 times now. All right, hold on. Bear with me. So sorry. I'll read both of them. Don't worry. Okay. This one. All right. So, the first card that I pulled is the love card. This is the one that we've gotten quite a bit with the 2 lovebirds. I'll read it again to refresh y'all's memories. Love is a many splendored thing. Today I will notice and appreciate at least 3 of those splendors, like the fact that puppies make me feel like a parent, or the surge of self-congratulation I feel when I sink a 3-point trash basket shot on the first try, or how about the chills I get while singing along to blank. Um I mean, I do my daily gratitude, especially now that I'm back to work. And like on my way to work, I, say I'm thankful for things. So, it's always fun. Anyways, our next one is ultimate. Wow, I almost said unlimited. Ultimate potential. It's got a little giraffe with some headphones and some clouds with a rainbow cloud. I don't know if those are all clouds actually, but says, I choose to live a life of my fullest potential. I trust that this will draw me towards experiences and people that support my growth and accomplishment. Tuning into this frequency, I now reach higher heights than I ever thought possible. Knowing that's an option, why would I have ever turned into anything else? I'm looking at you, smooth jazz and talk radio. What? Okay, I don't. That last part was in parentheses, so I don't really understand that portion of it. But I do like the ultimate potential thing because I think it definitely goes along with a lot of the things that we've been saying. Is like um, a lot of same with your videos that you put. What was the one? Like show gratitude like it's already yours or something, or as if it's already yours and things like that.
For all that is already yours.
Mm.
And however you want to interpret that, whether you just be grateful for things that you literally already have, or the things that you're attempting to, magnify into your life. Because we talk about that. You're right.
That just scared me because like I just saw the shadow behind me. Like I didn't know my dogs were downstairs and I was like, what the fuck is that shadow? And it's Huron. No, because there has I got a text message the other day. So I guess quick backstory. So I was taking care of my neighbor's dogs, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, just going over, letting them out. I didn't bring them over to the house, but I was just going over letting them out. Well, Randy had texted me at like almost midnight and was like, were you just at our house? And I'm like, nope, I'm definitely in bed at after midnight, He's like, yeah, I didn't think that was you on the cameras because they have cameras and has access to his phone. And he was like, it looked like some guy was like trying to get in the house or something. I was like, that's weird. So I kind of crept downstairs and like, maybe I wasn't downstairs. Anyways, but I like peeked through the windows to see. I'm like, I don't see anybody out there. Well, then just a couple days ago, yesterday or the day before, Yvonne texted me saying that they had put out a notice on, I don't know if it was Facebook or something for the neighborhood, that some guy has been creeping around the neighborhood and has been trying to get into cars and houses at like around 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm like, well, shit. So that's why I was kind of like,
it's happening.
Like, oh no, did I forget to lock my door? My door is definitely locked. I'm like 90% certain. I'm
Well,
99% certain.
I'm glad it wasn't a
Chelsea's
creep.
gonna watch this and she's gonna be like, hands on her hips.
Well, I also feel like the dogs probably would have barked if someone were in the
Yes,
house.
100%. I mean, Sheldon barks at the wind, and Huron barks at anything that he sees out in the street. So
Right.
pretty much anything. Did he leave me already? That this is boring in here. I don't know where he had. I forgot. I kept his Thunder shirt on today. I've been putting his Thunder shirt on while I'm at work, just because like I don't want him. Even though like it's healed up and the staples are out, I still don't want him like licking it, because he
Yeah.
does kind of get in the habit, and like I just don't want him to be licking it and end up with like a yeast infection. So
Yeah.
I throw the Thunder shirt on and I forgot to take it off.
No worries, friend.
Oh.
How was your transition back to work?
Not as bad. So I was actually, I've been really proud of myself because I've been on a good workout routine for, this will be week 2, I think. So, but still,
Yeah,
better than what I was
start
doing.
somewhere.
So the fact that, because Monday was a holiday, so Tuesday, my first alarm, I never get up on my first alarm. Never, ever, ever, ever. Like, that's why I literally set like 6 alarms. My first alarm goes off at 4:45. I look at it and I'm like, wide awake, and I'm like, this is weird. I don't even want to go back to sleep. So I like lay there, scroll through the social medias, do your typical, because that's usually what I do when I first wake up anyway. Scroll through social medias, check emails, see whatever bullshit. And then I got up, worked out, went to work, and this was my first week with the new major, the one that replaced Colonel Bina. And I was kind of like, I didn't know how this was going to be, considering like our last interaction. But I was like, fuck it, I don't care. Like, because I'm gonna leave at some point. I'm fucking leaving. I don't care. So the first thing I do is I go talk to Captain Angulo about my retirement stuff, and I talked to her. No, take that back. I checked my email because I had them send me like all the documentation. Hopefully everybody knows what I'm talking about, because I haven't really talked about it on the podcast. But if you follow me on TikTok, then you kind of know I've been dealing with like some issues with, trying to get my internship and my retirement approved. So I checked my email to look at the documents that he had sent me, and I'm reading the notes that was left on there, and I'm fuming. I'm so mad, because I'm like, that's a lie. That's not accurate. That's not like everything. Like, so mad. So I go talk to Captain Angulo. I said, listen, I am eligible for retirement, because that was one of the first things that was written in the notes, that I am not eligible for retirement because I have not completed the SFL TAP classes. Yes, the fuck I did. In fact, you signed off on the paper that says I am complete with it. And we've told you numerous times that I am complete with it. So I talked to her and she's like, well, should we go talk Sergeant Major? And I'm like, at this point, like, I don't even know anymore. And so we kind of briefed him on it a little bit, and then we went and talked to the new major. And I was like, kind of nervous, because again, our last interaction. And so she's like, give me a minute and I'll come back. So then we're just kind of bullshitting in the hallway, where all the cubicles are. And she's like, let's go talk in one of the offices. So we go into my office, and I said, ma'am, you can read the notes. And she's like, do you mind if I sit? I said, have at it. Like, you can even touch the mouse and you can scroll and read, do whatever you want to do. I don't care. And I'm just sitting there sipping on my coffee. I haven't even changed my clothes at this point. I'm still in civilian clothes. And she's like, well, this is correct, because one of the notes was, I cannot take leave in conjunction with the CSP internship. And I said, yes, that is correct. However, I'm not. Like, there's a day in between the terminal leave and the internship. And she's like, okay. And she's like, what is this about you're not eligible? I said, I am eligible. I already called the lady at West Point, and I'm just trying to get a hold of her. She's like, or I was like, I'm just waiting on a phone call back. And she's like, nope, don't wait on a phone call. She's like, literally stalk her, call her every hour on the hour, email her, do whatever you got to do to get that response. I'm like, okay. She was actually really cool and very, very helpful. So good. That was definitely a big positive for that. So everything got resubmitted. She approved up to 90 days. And I'm just like, so the conversation today was, that's great. It's better than nothing. So I am very appreciative of that. However, when she disapproves the leave form that goes with the CSP packet, because the leave form is for the full 180 days, I'm like, it still has to go forward to the general. She owes me a um an actual justification for it, because right now I have not received any justification as to why she's trying to restrict the days and the location that she, because originally she wanted me to stay under 60 days and within 50 miles of here in New York. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I said that she owes me a legitimate justification for it. I am well aware that she is full well in her right to disapprove and, you know, want to restrict me, whatever. 100% get it. But she owes me justification as to why she is literally hindering my future outside of the army. And so the next step would be to go talk to the general.
Look at you.
Yeah. But everything happens for a reason. I'm very aware of that. And I'm
Well,
not.
but I'm glad that you got a little bit of support, backing to where, someone took the time to come and read the notes and, get all the information.
Mhm.
And so at least there's that where you're not fighting that battle on your own,
Yeah.
so.
That's definitely how I feel about it, because I haven't felt really like I'm completely alone, because Captain Angulo has been like a huge advocate for me and
Awesome.
been helping me out. But it was outside of her. Like, I feel like I haven't really gotten the support.
Yeah.
A lot of lip service. Not trying to sound inappropriate, but it's been a lot of lip service, but no real support until I talked to the major, and then she even followed up with an email later on that afternoon to this individual to like, hey, just a reminder that this needs to be done for Sergeant Raider, because it's kind of time sensitive type thing.
Right.
So I am looking at the positives, and again, I know everything happens for a reason. If I'm not meant to do the 6 months, then I'm not meant to do the 6 months. If I'm not meant to do it at all, then I'm not meant to do it at all. But I need a solid answer at this point, because I can't do the waiting around, because if I can't do the full 6 months, then I have to math everything and figure out, okay, when do I start clearing if I do only 3 months? And if I can't do any of it, then obviously I already know when I would start clearing and all that, which sucks, because that means I'm here until July. Yeah, but it'll be okay.
Yeah, who knows what'll happen between now and then. And
yeah. So how was your
we
week?
have to it goes back to like what happened last week when we pulled that card that was about divine timing and remembering to be patient. And it's hard. Like when you have new opportunities on the horizon and you feel like there are all these roadblocks, and it's just like you had mentioned last week, about how you just want to like fast forward through this time in your life, to just get there.
Yeah.
So then when you're already in a holding pattern and jumping hurdles, it's like, I'm over this and I really just want to be done.
Yeah.
But take this as like one more lesson, in this chapter of your life.
Yeah.
And I guess just contemplate on that and see what it is that you could learn from there. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like you have already in like different ways of handling the situations and, being mindful and all of that. So
Yeah. There's definitely been a lot of like pop quizzes with this assignment,
sure.
because this has been going on for a couple months now, and just like the little thing, like little interactions that's been happening. Just like when I was still on leave and I stopped by to figure out what the heck was going on, old Jen would have exploded in the office, like straight up got disrespectful, don't care who it is, exploded because of how angry I was. But I kept it inside and like poker face, and I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go home. Text me if there's any changes. I'll see y'all in a couple weeks. Fucking saw my way out, and then as I'm sitting in the car, I was like, fuck, like just grabbing my steering wheel, shaking, so mad. But like, I feel like I am definitely passing this assignment, and I am taking in the lessons. Like I think this is all like a roll up of like everything I've learned over the summer. You know, the universe is like, let's see if you really learned your lesson. And I think I'm knocking it out the park.
Good.
Yeah.
Me.
Hmm.
It's been, you know, a week.
Oh no,
Just
buddy.
nothing good, bad, or really indifferent until until this morning.
Uh-oh.
But it's good. Like I was busy all weekend. I guess last time we were on here, I was talking about how excited I was for the weekend and work on my project,
Hmm.
and I got it mostly done. Just to have my horse get his foot tangled in something and like rip half of it down. So
Oh,
that
I
was
thought you were gonna say rip something else off, and I was like, oh.
no, but like he got we made some modifications to the fence like months ago, and there was like a really long, like I'm talking hundreds of feet long piece of electrical tape, not electrical tape, but like electrified fence tape. And my dad was like, I don't want to cut it off because I'm not sure if we're going to need it. So we left it, and it's been fine for months. And just miraculously, I don't know. I think that was Monday. No, it was Tuesday because it was my first day back at work. Um, he finds how to tangle his foot in. I mean, it gets like all caught. So of course his foot's stuck and everybody else took off running. And so he's just like pulling, and like all the poles bent. And
Yeah.
I was like, I really don't have time for this right now. Because I had to fix it because there
Yeah.
were like gaps in the fence. And I was just like,
How long was he stuck there? Was he like, did he get stuck while you were at
About
work or?
10 seconds.
Oh.
No, I was feeding him and I threw a bale of hay over the fence like I always do. And I don't know, everybody was feeling spicy in the morning or something. I don't know. And they all went to take off running and he just happened to, again, I don't know how these things happen. I can't make this shit up. So, but it happened and I was like, okay, well, I can't leave it because like there's big gaps and I don't need people getting out or not people. Anyway, it's holding so far with the minor repairs that I made, and I'm just waiting to see when my dad can come back out and help me because I think I'll have to like take it all apart and try to fix it, which is going to be kind of challenging, but
Oh.
because they're in it. Um, but I'll work it out.
Well,
But
at least
again,
you're home when it
well, it's
happened.
funny because these are I think this is going to be like a good episode about just like life freaking happens, right? So like all of our past episodes have been about, hey, here's like a specific topic that we're going to touch on and things you can do, right? And this is, but we don't really talk much about like the day to day, right?
Mhm.
Every now and again we do.
Yeah.
But the trials and tribulations that happen like all throughout the day. So we talked about how I was so disappointed that it was going to be cold and it's really not warming up. And I've just been so miserably cold, right? Like I just can't seem to warm up. So the thought of like, I'm cold in my house and now I have to go outside and where I have all of my like outdoor clothes um, sitting in my bonus room where I normally record, but it's not temperature controlled out there. So it feels colder sometimes in there than it does actually outside.
Oh wow.
So then I have to put these like cold clothes on and yeah, so it's just not really motivating. And you can't just like go outside, right? Like you
Yeah.
got to get all bundled up and there's like 700 steps and it's like, I got to bring hot water out to make food and cuz I soak all their food and I just feel like it's cruel to do it with cold water when it's
Mhm.
freezing cuz then they just get like icicles on their noses. So there's like all these extra steps. So I'm already in my brain moderately annoyed. And then, you're trudging around and the pants are heavy and the boots are heavy. And like, there's just all these little negative things that like add up. Right. So then it's like, all right, just breathe, like you're trying to put your stuff on and like the shirt won't work with you and the straps don't want to pull up. And then the strap pops off and smacks you in the face, like all these things. Right. And so like, I literally just stop, take a deep breath. And I'm like,
Uh-oh. Is it me?
I don't know. I can hear you.
Oh, you froze for a second. It might have
Oh,
been me. I don't know, but you're like this. so
always.
so you took a deep breath. Like I was getting ready to stop it real quick, but I was like, I don't. It probably is me because Side note, we have a petition going on in the neighborhood because I'm not the only one that has internet issues. It's the
Oh,
whole
good.
neighborhood. So we have a petition. Anyways, so you took a deep breath.
And I was like, "This is small potatoes." Um, it's really not that big a deal. Like, you're rushing, you're letting all these, like, little things that aren't really a big deal, like, pile up and put you in a bad mood. It is what it is. It's winter. It happens every freaking year, you know?
Yeah.
So, anyway, I go outside and it, like I said, so I got to bring a hose out that I have to keep in my house so that it doesn't freeze. And so I'm trying to juggle like this mop bucket full of hose with a pitcher full of hot water with like a hot applesauce for the pony so he'll eat his freaking meds, you know. And I look like a Ringling Brothers circus, like trying to get down the stairs. And anyway, so I go out there and I throw the hay over the fence like I do every freaking morning. And for whatever reason, it scares crap out of everybody and they take off running. So now I was already like on that cusp where I'm like trying to talk myself off a ledge and not let all these like little things piss me off and put me in a bad mood. And now he just ripped out half the fence that I just spent days like working on. And I'm like, and I don't have time to fix it, right?
Mhm.
Like I have a set of when I get home from the gym, I have just enough time to like literally go out there, feed and water everybody, and then like come in and get ready for work. So I don't have time to sit here and figure out this fence. And like the more I'm trying to fix it, the more it's like it seems like it's getting worse. And I'm like, well, this is what I can do for now. I just don't have any more time, right? And I like just again, I have a kind of a good distance to walk from one place to the other, and as I, like, walk, I just try to, like, send out some gratitude, admire my surroundings, things like that, and, like, by the time I got over to where the ducks are to let them out, like, I had kinda woosawed and was just like, "It's just the day I'm having.
Yeah.
There isn't anything to do about it. I've done what I can, and, you know, I gotta just keep it moving." Um, so I think a little bit of it too is just like, long weekend. You have your, first day back at work, which is
Mhm.
like, even though it's Tuesday, it's really Monday,
Yeah.
so you have a case of the Mondays um, but it was all good. But then, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was super busy. I was outside all day on, I think it was Saturday. I literally had to leave my dad outside. I was like, I have to come in or I'm going to lose like fingers and toes. Like I'm so
Oh my god,
freaking
what's the
cold.
temperature over there?
On Saturday, it was 25 all day.
Ew.
And
You know
so he
what you
got,
should do is you should start up that fireplace behind you and then sit next to
yeah.
it.
Well, it's on in my living room. But it really didn't help me outside. And my sister is like, what you should have done was drug your fire pit over there and had you like a little like homeless man's warm up spot. Uh, and I was like, yeah, that's a lot of work though. But
Yeah.
because my dad didn't even get here till like 2 o'clock. And that's really the hard part too, is it was only 25 degrees. And like I said, the problem was I had been out there all day
Mhm.
because I got up in the morning and went got hay with my grandpa. So that was like a couple hours. And then I came in for like an hour to eat. And then I was back outside from like 2 until the sun went down at like 6. So obviously, like as the sun starts going down, like the temperature, even though it might be the same, it's like less because you don't have that like ambient warmth from the sun.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I was like, I came in and I took my socks and shoes off and I put my feet like in the fire because I was just like, I need them to warm up. And then we tried to order pizza and we ordered it from Domino's. And it had been like an hour since we ordered this pizza. And you know how they have like the little tracker?
Yeah.
It says they haven't even put my pizza in the oven.
The fuck?
So I try to call. I'm on hold for 13 minutes listening to the same like recording over and over and over again. Nobody ever picks up the phone.
Were they closed?
No. And so finally my husband drives up there and is like, "Yo, where's our pizza?" And they're like, "Oh, we haven't even started it yet." And we ordered like a bunch of pizza because like
Yeah.
my sister was here, my dad was here, my mom was coming home. And anyway, so uh he just canceled his order and got a refund. But it was like almost 2 hours later, we find out that like no pizza's coming.
And like
Um,
what but like they didn't like text because normally they text you like, "Hey, sorry for the delay."
Nope, no
something? That's
updates. No one would answer
crazy.
the phone. Like, that's what I kept asking my husband, like, "Are you sure they're open?" You know? I mean, granted, it was Saturday night. There's no reason why they shouldn't have been open, but
But like still, like how big is your town?
it's not big at all.
So like what did somebody
That's what I'm
order like
saying.
5,000 pizzas before you?
Honestly, the last time we ordered, so I told them we're not ordering from there anymore because the last time we ordered from there, they gave my pizza to the neighbor. They went to the wrong house and just was like, "Hey, here's your pizza." And my neighbor took it, which was like,
I was gonna
"Yo."
say, like, what was your neighbor doing? Like, "Oh, thanks for the free pizza?" Like,
So
what
my
a
husband had
jerk.
seen him drive by, and so he ran down and was like, no, you need to go in there and get my pizza back because you're supposed to deliver that over here." And so, yeah, it's been a little bit of a trying week. Um,
Wow.
but again, like, it happens and it's
Mhm.
like, all right, well, whatever. And then what's today? Today's Thursday. So did not go into the office today. I worked from home.
Nice.
Challenging because I wasn't anticipating working from home. So I'm trying to do everything like on my personal computer. And so like there's some limitations there.
Yeah.
Um, but I was able to do most everything or find a workaround, but just again, kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But I woke up this morning in a panic because my room smelled like shit, like literal. I was like, the dog pooped in my room.
Oh,
Great.
no.
Because a few weeks ago, one of my dogs was having like a, I don't know, stomach issue and he just kept like explosive diarrheaing all over
Yeah.
the house. So I was like, here we go again. And it took me so long to get that out of my carpet and
Mhm.
like to get that like residual smell out of here. And I could see something like, we have like a little nightlight in the room. And so I saw something like on the carpet
Mhm.
and I'm like, yeah, the dog pooped. Wonderful. So I like turned my flashlight on my phone because my husband's still sleeping. It's a tennis ball. So I'm like, okay, then where is it? So now I'm
Yeah.
like, looking over the bed to make sure I don't step in it. I'm like looking all over the floor and I don't see anything. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, there's no way someone or something farted in here and it smells this
Yeah.
terrible and is like lingering for so long. So I'm like, whatever, I'm going to the gym. I'll find it later. But then I go out into the hallway. Long story short, my whole house smells like this. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Then my mom texts me and is like, "Hey, I hate to start your day off this way, but my toilet isn't flushing and my shower's not draining."
Oh,
So
no.
it turns out that the in the basement we have like a solid waste pump because the bathroom is lower than the sewage pipes. So it pumps all of her like wastewater up to the sewage pipe so that it can go out into the septic tank.
Mhm.
It broke
Oh, no.
and backed up into my basement.
Like, was your basement flooded?
Not
With
terrible, Not terrible, thankfully, but and there's like a drain there.
Yeah.
So most of it like stayed along the little drain and
Mhm.
went down, but like so I've it wasn't like I went down there, I was waiting in like
The
toilet
water.
water, but it was terrible. It stunk so bad.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I had to call a plumber. So I wound up staying home today to wait for the plumber for him to tell me that I have to pay him a gajillion dollars to replace this pump. And my mom's bathroom's out of commission until tomorrow when they're
Sucks.
done. Yeah. But I mean, luckily it's just one bathroom. It's
Yeah.
not like we can't use any water because like uh I wasn't sure if I could take a shower. Like
Mhm.
we shut off all the laundry because like, you know what I mean? I didn't want to exacerbate because I didn't know exactly what it was, but it
Right.
turns out that pump just runs the one bathroom. So um yeah, so I literally had a shitty day. Followed by I got a call from work to say that I made an error on something that I could possibly be on the hook for, and I'm like, "What the" I'm like, "Alright, well, it'll come down the way it comes down. There isn't
Yeah.
anything I can do about it. I already did it, and I can't take it back." So,
Oh, no, buddy.
and then yeah, so and then there was kind of some family drama today, um good stuff. I mean, even though after the smell dissipated a little bit, I don't know
Mhm.
what the guy did down there, but it did kind of, I don't know if it's just opening and closing the doors or
Mhm.
what, or maybe I just became nose blind to it because it was like really hard to just even sit in my house and wait for the plumber
Yeah, I
because
bet.
like,
Ugh.
but he came and he has to come back tomorrow to do the work. They just came by to like assess to see what they were
Mhm.
going to need to do, which was kind of disappointing, but like I get it.
Yeah.
But then we had our fiber optic internet installed like a few months ago, and well, like 6 or 8 weeks ago,
Mhm.
and they just dropped the cable in the grass, and they're like, "We'll come back later and dig a trench and bury it." So no warning, a crew of guys just shows up with a like a ditch witch, and they're it just was a good thing I was home because my truck was in the way, and if
Yeah.
my truck was, or if no one was home, to tell them, "No, you take that and you dig the trench all the way around the backside of my house, don't be ripping up my driveway."
Right.
I'd have had like a big slash because there's like a bunch of utilities out front and there's flags and stuff there. Like the utility companies came by and, marked where all the lines are and stuff. But like it, it's a possibility that it could have been catastrophe. So it was a good
Yeah.
thing we were home because I was able to move the car out of the way and tell him to go around the house. And uh,
See,
husband and I
everything
got to,
happens for a reason. The
yeah,
toilet situation got backed up to keep you home, so that way you could be there for the internet dudes to
yeah.
dig the trench, and you
So
got to
my
just
husband and
chill out
I
at
got to,
home.
yeah, hang out a little bit. And I mean, I was working, but um, I was still here.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So I just, so I have to be home again tomorrow.
Oh, boo. So you
Uh,
just got yourself a 4-day weekend, another one.
I
And then you're going to go into another 4-day weekend. You
well,
shammer.
I'm only gonna work like 1 day next week. Nah, 2, because I go on leave, uh, Wednesday,
Mm.
because I have to take my kids to the airport.
Oh,
So,
gotcha.
I gotta drive to St. Louis on Wednesday. But, yeah. Yeah, so that's why I said, I was like, "Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not really that upset about it." I mean,
Yeah.
it sucks I gotta give them, like, a gajillion dollars, but
Yeah.
whatever. Like, my husband was, like, a little bit sad and, like, I don't know, in a mood about the total that it came to, and I was
Hmm.
like, "That this is what we do. We buy people's old stuff, and it waits until we move in to crap out."
Yes.
Like, it
That,
just it is what
that's just
it
how
is,
that's just how it goes.
so and it's just like, that's just home ownership,
Yeah.
I'm just thankful that it wasn't, as we had a sewage pipe problem in one of our other houses,
Hmm.
and like there was like inches of nasty water down there, and it was so gross and so hard to clean up, and like, so luckily, like I said, there's kind of a fail safe there, so it all
Yeah.
just kind of went back down a drain. But
See, and that's why I want to buy a new house. Chelsea.
well, yeah, well, I know your problems are minimized, but like
Yeah.
I know I had a friend, she bought a new house, and like Brandy knew she was the first owner,
Hmm.
and the back door leaked when it rained, like a river of water
Yeah,
would
but like
wind up.
that stuff should be fixed under the home warranty, because the same thing, not the same thing, but like
Well, the
because my
good.
house that I bought in Tennessee, first
Mhm.
owner, first one that lived there, the the spare bedroom bathroom started leaking because apparently they forgot to do something in under the shower or the bathtub or whatever.
Mhm.
And so it started leaking. I was in the field too. So like imagine getting these texts and it's raining from in my kitchen. So I'm like, "Oh my God." So called the construction company and was like,
Yeah.
"Hey," because it was all under home warranty, so they had to go through and fix everything for free.
Yeah, I think that, by the time it started happening, she was, like, at the cusp of whatever warranty, because I think the warranty was only good for a year, and she lived there for over a year or something like that. But also, they kept sending someone over when it wasn't raining, and she's like, "You gotta wait until it rains for me to show you."
Yeah.
Granted, they coulda hit the door with a hose or something, but,
Yeah.
like, they made really little to no effort, and then she had another problem with the air conditioner. It's supposed to have, like, an overflow pan or tank or something like that,
Mhm.
and it didn't, and the air conditioner, like, I don't know, apparently it's, like, a common thing, but it's supposed to have, like, a emergency shut off if the condensation builds up. I don't know where the water comes from, but long story short, a lot of water wound up coming out of the air conditioner, and it ruined the whole upstairs. Yeah.
Oh my
She had to
gosh.
go through her insurance to get it fixed because
That's crazy.
and I think it just depends on your contractor and
Yeah.
timing and all that
Yeah.
stuff, but, I mean, those things are usually, few and far between, but
Mhm.
it's just part of home ownership,
Yeah.
and even if it's just like you get a new house and the tree falls over and knocks your, you know, garage roof in or, like, this is always something, but,
Yeah.
uh for me, like every house I've lived in, I've had a plumbing problem, like a major plumbing problem.
That's crazy.
And I just like, or some kind of water damage or like whatever. Like, I'm just like, it is what it is. You just pay the guy. That's what credit cards are for, and you figure it out later.
Yeah.
Like, I
That's
need you to, like, we were trying to figure out, hey, is there any way that you could like squeeze this in today? Because, like, do you smell this? It's
yeah.
terrible.
Well, thank God they're able to come out tomorrow and get it
Yeah,
taken
like bright
care
and
of.
early, first appointment, and they're there until it's done,
Yeah.
so, um, but like I said, super thankful things that, I got to hang out and, just, like, chillax a little bit
Yeah.
and, um, in the downtime, moments, you do laundry or run the vacuum or
Yeah.
whatever. I miss working from home, so, it was good.
I'm excited because I think I'm gonna work from home. Get out.
Yeah,
We have a plan, and I'm super
good.
stoked about this plan. So, how was your appointment with Lori last week?
I feel like I screwed it up.
Oh no,
Yeah,
how?
it wasn't as or maybe so, the one thing I did different this time, well, there was a couple different things, but one of the major things that I did differently this time was I had expectations on what I don't know, on the appointment or whatever, what
Hmm.
was gonna happen, and so when it wasn't as awe-inspiring as I thought it was going to be or I had anticipated. But the last 2 appointments I had with her, um, I just miss being able to go to her, because she has those, like, perfect spaces for you to just, like, shut it all out. So, the appointment before this, I wound up having to do it in my car,
Hmm.
and it was not really hot. It was too cold to sit outside, and it wasn't cold, it was just the wind was chilly, and when I went out there to go sit outside, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be terrible." So I went to go sit in my car, but inside my car was, like, too hot,
Yeah.
and so I wound up having to leave the car running with the air conditioner on for the hour appointment or whatever, so I was like, "Well, that was kind of a waste of fuel," but I just, like, wasn't comfortable and,
Hmm.
like, it was, like, sunny in my face, and I tried putting sunglasses on and, like anyway, I tried to do my best, and it wasn't terrible, but this last time, I tried to do it out at where I normally record, out in the bonus room, because, like I told you, the sliding glass door is like a sound barrier, and there's, like, really nothing else going on around that room,
Hmm.
um, but it's not climate controlled, and it was so freaking cold out there, and I was dressed like I was going outside, and I was under a blanket, but, like, I'm laying there and I'm, like, just trying to just, get into the whole thing, and I cannot feel my toes, and it's really distracting me, and, like, even though I'm letting it go, my body's going into kinda, like, survival mode, and it's
Hmm.
like, we're losing appendages here." And I had my hands all, like, tucked in a blanket, and so, um I learned some things, about the chakra itself, as far as the fact that it has like 6 petals. So we went from 4 petals in the root chakra to 6 petals in the sacral chakra, and what it kind of governs as far as like the parts of the body, which is like the low back, the reproductive organs, I believe like the lower bowel, um, inner workings,
Hmm.
digestive system, but then also like sexuality, creativity, and those types of things. Uh, so I did learn things, and I always love getting, with Lori,
Yeah.
and it was not anything to do with her. Um, there was a cool thing that happened though. So again, I was able to kind of connect, but it was more like intermittent more than it is like normally I'm just like in another place for an hour.
Hmm.
She was mentioning, oh, floating in the ocean was like the visual, right? And she had mentioned, like, at the end that sometimes when we do these, like, visualizations or whatever, sometimes people will, like, taste the salt in the air or, like, whatever, and I was like, "I didn't taste anything, but I was, like had all this extra saliva in my mouth, like I had eaten something salty or sour," or you know what I mean? Or even when you
Yeah.
just think about it, you're like I was like, I felt like I was drowning in my own saliva, like, I just, like, kept having to, like, swallow the whole time,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "So that's kind of weird." Um, but it's good, but we talked about some other things, that I think I don't know, I just thought there would be more of a shift, I think. Like I said, I think I just put too much expectation into what I thought was gonna happen. Um,
Well, you're also like really distracted too
yeah.
during that with being cold. Buddy, invest in a space heater. Like, what are you doing?
I think I just have to do it in my room and just, like, get over the fact that, like, you might hear background noises because
Yeah.
they don't
Well,
bother
you can,
me,
but
and
you can mute yourself. Like, if the background noises don't bother you, you can
true.
mute it so where it doesn't distract her. Cause that's
Yeah.
what I do because, there's times like Sheldon wants to like jump up and start licking
Mhm.
me when it's like, dude, I'm like laying on my recliner like this, like, dude, get out of my face. Like, come on now, but I
Yeah.
mute. And then if they bark or whatever. So
Right.
as soon as like we get done doing like our typical initial, like, oh my
Talking.
God, I haven't seen you in so long type of thing,
Yeah.
then I'm like, "All right," and I mute and then
Yeah.
go on with
So
it.
next time we have an appointment for 2 weeks, and so I'll just figure out some other place to go,
Yeah.
um but I did go out and I was like I had this kind of I don't know what you wanna call it, yearning or just, like, really strong feeling that I should take a salt bath,
Probably because you were imagining floating in the ocean.
maybe. Um, so I went out and I bought, like, we went over some things that you could do. She's like, "You could put some crystals in your bath." Um and I got and she was like, orange is so she kinda gave me some homework.
Yeah.
So when I picked up the salt bath, I did just went with like an Epsom salt, and they had orange something uh essential oils in it.
Mhm.
So I went with like an orange themed thing, and she mentioned eating orange foods, that might be seasonal. She's like, you can eat oranges and stuff like that. She's like, but sometimes I feel like when we eat the things that are natural to our surroundings, it kind of also helps tie the sacral chakra to
Mhm.
the root chakra because you're, getting in touch kind of with earth because you're eating like, like a rooted vegetable like a sweet potato. It's
Yeah.
orange, but it's a root vegetable. Um, and it's like indigenous to this area during the season. So kind of tying all those things together. She mentioned like doing some baking, but I'm not really a big baker. So I went out when I got my candle and my Epsom salt and whatever. My husband actually found it. There was like one more skein of orange yarn, like way in the back, up on the top. So I made myself a scarf. Should have brought it in here.
Aw.
Um, and for whatever reason, like normally I make stuff all the time and I like wear it, but I'm like, yeah, it's the thing I made, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Um, there's really nothing special about this scarf. Um, but it brings me great joy when I wear it. And so I wonder sometimes if because we talked about like, yeah, you make things all the time, but when you make them with intention, it like changes the energy.
Yeah.
And so like I really felt that, like I love that thing. I've made
That's
many scarves and I'm
awesome.
always like, "Man, they're fine. They're whatever."
You
But
have to
this
send
one
me a
is like
picture so I can share it to our Instagram.
yeah, I would go grab it, but like that's the whole thing. But I will try to bring it on for next week's episode and
Okay.
show everybody. But yeah, I don't know what it is about it. It's cozy and like
Yeah.
I don't know, but when I like it's kind of like a whoopee
I
lately.
love Whoopi.
And but my bath was really good. I wound up doing like kind of like a guided meditation.
Mhm.
While I did it just as a timer, I didn't really want to be laying in there in silence and then have this like annoying alarm go off in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did like a guided meditation and I turned all the lights off and I had like a scented candle, like an aromatherapy, and it was nice. Oh, but I wanted to try to do that earlier in the day, like right after my appointment with her, and it was like the cards were not in my favor. I'm like all excited because I'm frozen from sitting out there. And so I'm like, what a perfect time, two birds, one stone, right? Um, I can get warm and also kind of take this like salt bath. And which I read also is supposed to help like enhance like that connection that you get from working with a healer
Hmm.
or um whatever. It just kind of helps. So I thought also I was thinking because I was so kind of in survival mode sitting in my recliner
Yeah.
in the cold that maybe I could, kind of finish this session because like when we came out of the meditation, like I wasn't ready
Yeah.
and never felt that before.
I've
And
had that happen very few times, but I can remember a couple times where it's like we end it and I'm like, no, I wasn't there yet. I wasn't ready.
yeah, and like it took me so long to get there
Hmm.
because of my surroundings that like then by the time I got there it was like time to come out and I was like, but it wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh hey, maybe I can kind of just carry a little bit of this over into my bath and I go and I flick the thing to stop the tub and nothing's happening. And I'm like, and I told my husband I was going in there to take a bath and he didn't mention anything. So finally, I like call her out and I'm like, does the stopper in the tub not work? And he's like, no. What the F? He's like, but I will go out right now and I will go get you like a rubber stopper so you can
Yeah.
take your bath, which I thought was really nice. But of
That
course, I
yeah.
was
That was really
mad.
nice, but like why didn't he say that when you said you were gonna go
Yeah.
take a bath?
But I was just in this mood because I was like a little bit disappointed about my session and
Yeah.
like all I wanted to do was take a bath and warm up. And now the freaking, and I was just like, no, I do not want you to go. I just wanted it to work right now. And I did. I had a little pity party and where I was just like, and then I was like, everything happens for a reason.
Hmm.
You just were not meant to take a bath right now, which again was a good thing because I hadn't even been outside to feed my animals. So later that night, we wound up running around, and my daughter came with us, and it wound up being kind of a good time. It was Veterans Day, so
Hmm.
we grabbed like a little snack from somewhere, and um, so again, it all worked out.
Yeah.
And but man, I'll tell you what, I got out of that bath, and my bathroom just smelled so lovely, and I just kept walking in there and be like, and then I got out of the bath and I started working on my scarf, and so I think I just kind of like shifted my own energy a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
so
you
it's
wouldn't have worked, you wouldn't have been in that space. Had you taken the bath when you wanted to, you wouldn't have been in the space to work on your scarf because you had so many other things that you had to do.
mhm,
And then you would have ended up doing your scarf like later and I don't think it would have been the same.
exactly. And when I took my bath later in the evening, like you said, all the stuff, all the things are done.
Yeah.
So like you can just be in that moment for the 20 minutes and just be in that space where,
Yeah.
like you said, had I done it earlier in the day, my mind would have been like, okay, we don't have time for this. We have things to do and this and that. And 100%.
Yeah.
So everything does happen for a reason.
That's
Uh,
awesome though.
yeah. So, and it's just been like, remember, so the heaviness is kind of lifted from,
Yeah, I could tell. It's definitely not. I still feel it a little bit with you, but not as like it was last week.
I
Like
wanted
last
to
week, I was
find
like,
it. I know,
no, I'm like,
right?
oh no, like I just want to give Liz a hug and tell her everything's gonna be okay because like I could feel it.
I I read something the other day. I can't remember where I read it, but I have a couple of apps. One of them is called CoStar. I'm on the fence about it, but it gives you it's a more of like an astrology app.
Hmm.
And it talks about the ways that the days are affecting you based on where your the different, what do you call those, signs,
Yes.
astrological signs are in your house and in your astrological
Right.
chart.
Hmm.
So it's cool, but sometimes the things in there I'm like are random to me
Mhm.
and they don't really align or uh there's another word I'm looking for, but like resonate.
Yeah.
Um and then I have another one called Moonly, and it's pretty cool. It talks about moon cycles
Mhm.
and how your moon day and your moon night and how that affects you. And it talks a little bit about like the astrology side of it. But it's pretty cool. They're both free apps. Moonly has a paid version that I'm like, because some of the things are locked.
Mhm.
But it's got some meditations on there. It gives you an affirmation of the day.
Nice.
Um, it gives you a tarot reading and a rune reading, which are also teachable moments. So it
Mhm.
also gives you like a little bit of information about the card.
Yeah.
Um, so it's actually kind of cool. And I was going somewhere with that. I think that's where I read what I was going to talk about that I totally forgot because I went on a whole tangent. But
It
uh,
happens. Just about every episode it happens. But
yeah,
it's okay.
I forgot what we were
I'm
talking
gonna
about.
I'm gonna look into those apps though. Like the only thing is like I try to be really careful when it comes to stuff like that, like like horoscopes, like, oh, this is how your day's gonna be, because I feel like that sets it. Whereas
Yeah,
I'd rather read the stuff at the end of the day, because then I can be like, oh, that's why I was being a bitch today. You
yeah.
know?
Um, I guess I just kind of take it into advisement. I don't really look at it as like, all right, this is how your day is going to be because this is what the stars have aligned to be.
Hmm.
But like you said, if I'm feeling some type of way, I'll be like, maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes like the one thing I like about CoStar is it gives you like a weird quote for the day.
Hmm.
Sometimes it resonates. So, for example, one day I pulled it up and it said bring flowers or send flowers is what it said. Fucking random. But not for that day
Hmm.
because we were visiting one of my coworkers. His wife has been sick.
Hmm.
And so we all did like a staff day and we went over there to just like, bring comfort food and, just check in and, say that we are thinking about them or whatever. And so I really didn't know what to bring. And everybody else is kind of bringing a food item. And I'm like, it's one person. How much food is she really going to eat?
Yeah.
I don't know what she likes to eat. And so I always start my day and I look at this app and it said send flowers. And I was like, done. So
That's
I stopped. Yeah,
crazy.
so I stopped and I got her a little arrangement of flowers that I thought was kind of cute.
Oh
And
wow.
so sometimes, it says something, but it'll tell you that like, there's, right now there's power in routine and uh whatever,
Yeah.
self-love, right? And then it'll be like you're struggling in, social life, your sex life, and something else,
Yeah.
And so um, I feel those things. So in that area, sometimes they're kind of really spot on because I'm like, that is exactly how I'm feeling. I'm like, I'm feeling like I'm struggling in those areas and not really sure why. Oh, but I remember, see, we come back around.
See, always full circle.
So um, and I lost it again.
Don't lose. I was like, no, don't lose it. I saw the transition on your face. You're like, it was just there. Come
Oh.
back.
Anyway, it's has something to do with the way I've been feeling,
Yeah.
and, I almost had it again.
I'm just gonna be quiet.
No, it's fine. We'll talk about
The way
something else
you've been
another time.
feeling, because there's problem
Yeah,
areas in
and
your life.
oh, so I read something and it was saying that the reason that you're feeling what you're feeling, which is kind of like indifferent, if you will, is because you're in a transition point. Whether that be, you know, leveling up or vibrating at a higher level or working your way, to there or whatever. And so I guess essentially I've kind of become a student again and it's like a weird feeling
Hmm.
because things are really good. I'm just feel like I'm missing something or I don't know. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
like I just feel like there's something missing.
But
And
you'll
that's what
figure
we're
it out.
doing.
And I know,
Yeah.
like, because I think, and it honestly, it makes sense because we just had the new moon in Scorpio, which Scorpio is a big representation of transformation.
Mhm.
So that definitely makes sense as to why you're like in this transformation phase. You just
Yeah,
don't know
so I
where.
like just quit trying to hunt it down and
Yeah.
find it, and I'm like, it'll let me know what it is when I need to know what it is, and
Yeah.
so I'm just kind of like enjoying um all the stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, and so I
Living in
had
the
told you,
now.
yeah, and I told you I had kind of been having this like uh not finding great joy in what I'm doing for work right now. And I had a conversation Tuesday about some things. We had a meeting, or maybe it was Wednesday. We had a meeting and we were kind of like red in some of these areas. And it's one of those things where like it's not really my responsibility to do it. It's the down trace responsibility to do it. But like we keep beating that dead horse, we keep putting the information out and hey, do the things and do the stuff and it's just not getting done. And so I came in like I always do, and I'm like, all right, well, I see where all your deficiencies are. So I'm not doing anything else. So I'm just going to focus all my effort there to, make those improvements. Because I really feel like right now I have to kind of like justify my existence and to be able to stay on long term. And so anyway, I was like, "Hey, I could fix these things. I'm just sitting over here." But that means I'm probably going to step on a couple people's toes. But I also feel like if they cared, they would have done it already.
Right.
And so I was like, "But I just don't know how you guys run your program and I'm not trying to be extra and like come at it if that's not what you guys want to do and you just want to just leave it to the battalions to do or whatever. I'll leave it." And the guy was like, "It's your program. Like, that's your responsibility. So, however you want to run it. That's not how I do it. But the guy before you, that's how he did it." And so he's like, "I'll leave it up to you to do it however you want." So he's like, and I was like, dope. So I kind of found like a purpose, I guess you could say,
Nice.
um, to where I just won't have all this like thumb twiddling time because,
Must be
so
nice.
I'm just gonna just tackle it and just try
Yeah.
to make it better. And at least it could be like, well, hey, look, since our May got here, all of our shit improved.
Yeah.
So
That's gonna
if I
be.
could stop fucking up, because no more that was I like, yeah, raw, I'm gonna do this. I approved something that I really shouldn't have approved, and it's fine.
Listen, you're only human. We make
Yeah,
mistakes.
100%. I wasn't really that upset about it. He called me and he's like, "Hey, just so you know, something else got brought up and it led to some investigation and you approved something that you weren't supposed to approve." And I was like, "Oh man, really? Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, there's a time date stamp with your name on it." Crap.
Aw, gee
And I was like,
willikers.
"Well, what was it?" And he told me, and I was like, "That's weird because there's a rental car."
Hmm.
And I'm like, normally I like scrutinize the crap out of those because we just like really don't pay for them.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, I was looking at the order," and he's like, "I think I figured out what happened. And what it is that you start cut the order." And so when we cut orders in RLAS, like if you're going to get a rental car, there's either a statement on there that says you're authorized to rental car, or there's no statement at all referencing rental cars at all.
Hmm.
So I think what happened was I just perused the instructions and I saw rental and was like, "Oh, yep, it's on there. All right. Well, I don't know how he got lucky, but all right."
Right.
And didn't like continue to read where it says rental car not
Not authorized.
authorized. I just saw rental car authorized and I was like, all right,
All right,
cool.
good to go.
So I was like, well, worst case scenario, I got to pay for it out of my own pocket. Best case scenario, I get a slap on the wrist that says,
Yeah.
be more mindful. So I was just
Yeah.
like, all right, well, thanks for bringing it to my attention. And
Read better.
I'll do better next time.
I'll do better next time.
So I think like I know it's like long-winded as usual, but like these are all examples of like this is life.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I honestly like I love stuff like this. Like I know it's a lot of like either you're sitting there like or I'm sitting there, but like I love these conversations because like I think that especially for like our viewers and our listeners, it makes it more relatable where we're not just like here's a bunch of information, go figure it out. Like we're letting them relate to us because like we're just regular people, and we have issues, and we have work problems, and we just find ways to,
Struggles and
out of work
surprise
problems.
home problems
Yeah,
and like,
and we just find ways to rise above it and try to find this silver lining, which a lot of times it can be very difficult,
mhm,
especially when you're in that moment. But then, like, when you go back and you reflect on it, you're just like, wow, like, okay, so I wasn't meant to, you know, I wasn't meant to go to work because, like, this plumbing issue kept me home for this reason, those
yeah,
types of things. So
yeah,
it's good to just, you got to make sure you go back and reflect on things. I'm not talking you, I'm talking you
yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
go back and reflect on your days. Like, I literally reflect on my day every single night before I go to sleep. Just reflect on what I could have done better. And I guess I end up in a way kind of doing like another gratitude session at the end of the night, because
mhm,
it's like, oh yeah, like I was really grateful that I came home and Huron didn't pee on my couch.
yeah,
Like, I'm so grateful for that.
the
So
little
it
things.
it is it is it really is the little things. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, yeah. No, and again, I think it's kind of like a way to, as long as, like we've talked about this before, in the sense that it's okay to uh, acknowledge how you're feeling, feel that feeling, but then you have to reflect on it and figure out how to either reframe it, or assuming it's negative,
Right.
or really take it in and enjoy it. Like I walked out of the gym the other day and I got hammered there, but I walked out feeling super great and just in a really good mood. And like I came out and the sun was shining and the birds were chirping and like, just taking all that in. I mean, it was cold as fuck outside, but I was warm from the gym, so
Yeah.
all was well, and I just was in a really great mood, and so I took the time to also enjoy that moment
Hmm.
and be thankful for that moment, and, um, so it's not always about, "Okay, well, I'm in a really shitty mood, let me reframe this," but it's also about enjoying those moments that we do get that are
Yeah.
blissful and, positive, and
Hmm.
figuring out how to take that energy with you throughout the whole day.
Yeah. Definitely. And a lot more just living in the now, not
Yeah.
like in the negative, not just the negative stuff, but definitely the positive stuff, just enjoying the now.
Yeah. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it was relatable that, life, a lot of people say life sucks and then you die, right?
Yeah.
But I don't like that saying. I used to
No,
say it all the time.
same.
Um, and really it's just life is challenging. It
Hmm.
can be. Or there are moments in it that are challenging, but
Yeah.
though they're just moments and they do pass. And I feel like they pass quicker, at least for me, when you can just take that breath and say, all right, what's a different way that I could process this information,
Yeah.
and it's really not that bad, or whatever it is, and keep it moving.
There's a saying that I'm pretty sure I came up with it a long time ago. I've never heard it. I don't think I've ever heard anyone else say it, but this actually happened. I was in therapy at the time. Imagine that. But during my therapy session, I was talking about, like, because I was going through the shit,
Hmm.
and I was like, he said something. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I was like, honestly, if life isn't hard, then you're really not living, in my opinion. Like, because it's life isn't supposed to be easy, and if it is, like, are you really living? Are you really getting the most out of your life if it's easy all of the time? So I'm one of those, even though it sucks in the moment, if it's not hard, then I'm not living. So
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it.
yeah. Listen, I like that saying, so give me fucking props. Like,
No, it's a good one, but because I think too, like for me, that means like you usually learn something
yeah.
when things are hard.
Hmm.
So we talk about lessons, and they do usually show up as challenges, or hard times. But we take that information and usually something really great comes out of it, whether it be a different lifestyle or a new job
Hmm.
or whatever. If those events didn't happen to you, you wouldn't be where you are now. So, and if you're in a place that events brought you that isn't exactly where you would like to be or what have you, just know that you can always change it.
Yeah.
But it starts with looking at the good things that are happening in your life and being thankful for the things that are already in your life, And you'd be surprised how quickly things will start to change and how those like-minded people will start being brought into your life. And how I look back on my life all the time and I'm like, yeah, while I was going through some stuff, it was like, like I can't even believe sometimes that was my life. Um, but it brought me to where I am today, and so I like where I am today. And I don't know that I would be here if it weren't for all of those things.
Right.
So, and they were long times. They were long periods of just shit,
Yeah.
And
I feel like that's been my whole ass life.
and I did feel that way up until very recently, but I honestly just think it was my outlook on life.
Yeah.
And not being thankful.
I definitely agree with that because, like, to be honest, like, even with the little obstacles that I have right now, my life's pretty great. So
yeah,
we all have our moments where we go through the shit, we get out of it, and we live good for a little bit, and then we're right back in the shit. Hopefully not the same type of shit. Because if you're in the same shit, you didn't learn your lesson the first time. That's something that I figured out recently. Like, I'm like, why does the same thing keep happening to me? Like, I don't understand. Oh, it's because you didn't learn your lesson the first time and you're making those same mistakes. So, but yeah, this was definitely fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you check out our Instagram, our TikTok, our Linktree, our YouTube, our Spotify.
The socials.
All the socials. But,
yeah, we got some good affirmational things that I try to get up there every day. And
I definitely love our TikTok. And that's all Liz, you guys. Like, literally. And on it, like, to be honest, the Instagram's yours too, because I literally just take the videos from TikTok and put them over onto Instagram. So that's all Liz. I think they're great. Like,
yeah,
I love it. And I think a lot of people are really starting to enjoy it and, find our
I hope so.
little page. So it's great. Yeah.
Well,
are we next week's Thanksgiving?
So we'll talk details later, but we'll try to get an episode in. Just probably won't be up on Friday unless we do it early enough.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I hope you buddies have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys after you guys stuff your faces.
Yeah.
Bye, buddies.
Have a good holiday. Bye.